Greetings everybody, welcome to another edition of Media Bites, special edition here. This is Placone, and the topic that I want to address today is not a particular uplifting topic or an easy topic, but today is another 9/11 anniversary, so I guess it's sort of a weird news day anyway, and I wanted to bring up this topic. Thought today was the good day, and that is in Florida. A 12-year-old girl was apparently cyberbullied to death. She took her own life, and her mom says that it is a result of cyberbullying. This girl, her name was Becca, and eventually, because of the cyberbullying she got online, she had to shut down her Facebook account. But then the bullies used apps like Ask.fm, Kick, and Voxer to torment the girl further, and they would say things like, "Please die, you are such a expletive," and she was attending a new school, this girl was, so it was a new school that she was at, and the reason I bring this up is because for a while on the show, we've been kind of looking into that whole thing is, do our online lives, do our global village lives kind of in some way alter our perception on reality? And there's been a lot of interesting contributions people have made. I mean, some people said, well, it makes a whole other reality. Others have said no. Some have said yes. And it's been a very interesting thing to kind of explore on a show about media. And I think cyberbullying kind of gets tied into that because, we'll say things behind a computer screen, or a lot of people will say things behind a computer screen that they likely wouldn't say to a person, that they wouldn't say in a civilized place, really. I mean, I feel like I've often said that e-wars are the lowest form of discourse you can possibly have. I mean, that's not to say there aren't intelligent conversations that are held via message boards or comments. There are, but, there's also a lot of, very kind of just low-hanging, caustic remarks that people will make that I don't think you would just make to a person on a street or something like that. And I think children, especially, children can be very cruel. That's, children can be, we're all getting to know ourselves and getting comfortable in our own skin, and there's a lot of kind of pain and awkwardness that goes with that. And, I was picked on at one point in my life. Most people were. At some point, some weren't, but a lot were. And so I think children, especially when they get behind a computer screen, they can really let loose, and that's what happened to this girl. So going on that, why I think that might be, because it's something else, there's a philosopher, Levinas, and I don't want to get too nerdy here, but he said that one of his definitions of violence is when you apply something with a face, you see something with a face as faceless. And that's what violence truly is, when you don't acknowledge someone's face. And of course he didn't mean just the physical face, it was more of the face of the person, like their personhood. When you just don't see that as being there. And I think when you're behind a computer screen, it's easy to act that way. You don't see a person because in some ways you literally don't see their face in some cases. Maybe you just hear their voice, or you just see maybe a video where you see their face, but you don't really know that person. You don't really see them as a person that you can shake their hand. So it's easy to, deliver cruelty online. I mean, maybe that's why like online discourse can at times lack a lot of civility, and maybe that was the case here. Maybe even though they would see this girl in school, they never really saw her as a face, saw her personhood, because so much of their relationship revolved around bullying her online. And maybe that bullying her online became their main reality and became a more dominant reality than seeing her in school. And so something like this has happened, and it's very sad. My heart goes out to the girl and her family. 12 years old. Her life was just beginning, And I don't know what the fix for cyberbullying is. I don't know. I mean, this is something, the internet is such an untamed medium, so to speak. I don't think if she would have tried to have gotten help, I don't know what could have really been done to have stopped it. I mean, I guess, you know, the obvious is, you know, if those other kids' parents got involved, they could, you know, try to make sure that they don't do that online, but I'm sure they'd find ways, you know. I mean, kids are, I mean, even when I was growing up, you know, you got an adult involved, and a lot of times sometimes it could even make things worse, you know, and this was before, you know, the days of, I mean, the internet was around, but there weren't as many, I mean, all these apps and all these programs that they could use to bully this girl, I mean, those certainly weren't around. Facebook wasn't around, not even MySpace was around. So, yeah, so I don't know what the fix for this is, but it's something that I wanted to talk about in Media Bites, because it goes along the lines of the, you know, do our online identities somehow alter our perception of reality, and did it kind of allow these girls to be so cruel to the point where this other girl killed herself. So it's a pretty sad story to incorporate, but one that I felt was, you know, fairly relevant to some of the topics we've been talking about over the week. So we'll talk more about this and other similar stories as they unfold. And thanks for tuning in to Media Bites, and I've been Ron Placone, your host.